CCTV shows a busy street in São Paulo's 25 de Março commercial district. A delivery rider walks toward his motorcycle, ready to start his route. In his hand, a bag with several new cell phones and a tablet. From the side of the frame, a man in a black jacket approaches quickly and blocks his way. The rider, upset at the thought of losing his belongings, instinctively tries to hold on to the bag and pull it back from the robber. In that instant, the gunman pushes in close behind him and fires a single shot into the back of his neck at point-blank range. The rider collapses in the middle of the street as people around them panic and run. The criminal grabs the bag and walks away, leaving the victim lying on the asphalt. On other cameras, we see him continuing through nearby streets and inside a crowded gallery. He talks briefly to a few people, trying to act normal, and then goes to a staircase to change his appearance. There, he takes off his pants, stuffs them into a black bag, and walks away wearing only a t-shirt and light shorts that look like pajama shorts, trying to blend in as just another passerby. Later, police arrested the shooter. By reviewing hours of CCTV from the area, investigators identified other members of the group who were supporting him during the crimes. Cameras caught these spotters near the scenes, watching potential victims and helping to organize the attacks, often using underage accomplices to carry weapons and stolen goods. The delivery rider was left fighting for his life, all because of a bag of electronics. On a quiet street in Rio de Janeiro, a shirtless man balances high above the ground, standing barefoot on a tangled mess of overhead cables. In his hand, a yellow-handled saw. He slowly moves along the wires and starts cutting through a thick bundle of cables, trying to steal them for copper. For a few minutes he works on the line, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. Then he makes a mistake. He cuts the wrong section of cable, loses his balance, and suddenly slips off the wires. He falls all the way down to the street, hits the ground hard, and immediately writhes and screams in pain. Loose cables drop around him as he lies on the asphalt, injured and helpless. Climbing and cutting power lines is not just illegal, it's incredibly dangerous. One wrong move at that height, around electricity, and you may not get a second chance. A woman walks alone along the sidewalk when a man in a red shirt suddenly comes up right beside her. She's clearly startled by the surprise approach. He appears to threaten her, keeping close and intimidating her so she doesn't react. A city bus is passing by. From the driver's seat, something about the scene doesn't look right. He slows the bus down and stops near them. The man and the woman start walking together along the sidewalk. She looks tense and scared. The driver keeps following slowly with the bus, watching. At the next corner, he stops again, opens the door and calls out, asking if everything is okay. Seeing the woman's frightened expression and realizing she is not comfortable, he decides to intervene. He steps out of the bus and walks toward the pair. As he approaches, other people on the street also move in to help, surrounding the man in the red shirt. The driver's proactive attitude, not ignoring what he saw, asking if she was okay, and stepping in, likely prevented that situation from turning into something far worse. A motorcyclist rides along a highway near São Paulo, filming everything with a helmet camera. The road is almost empty. It's a quiet Sunday morning. Suddenly, another bike, a white Triumph, appears in the left mirror, then overtakes. As it pulls ahead, the passenger turns around and points a handgun directly at the camera. The victim immediately slows down and pulls to the side, hands clearly visible. He stops near the barrier. The armed passenger jumps off, runs back toward him, gun still pointed, shouting orders. The camera image tilts downward as the robber hits the helmet and starts searching the rider. We hear them demanding to know if he's a police officer. The helmet is ripped off. The camera falls to the ground and lands facing the sky. Off-screen, the robbers take the victim's high-value motorcycle and ride away. They don't realize the camera is still recording. Later, police use this footage and highway cameras to investigate a specialized gang that targets big, expensive bikes along this route. For riders, this is a clear example. If you're faced with an armed robbery, your life is worth far more than any motorcycle. Do not resist. In Rio de Janeiro, a dark Jeep Renegade drives slowly along a neighborhood street. A motorcycle with two men comes up from behind and pulls alongside the driver's window. The passenger gets off, walks to the window, and points a gun at the woman behind the wheel. She tries to move forward to escape, but traffic in front of her blocks the way. There is no clear path to run. In a split second, she makes her decision. She slams the accelerator and turns the wheel toward the gunman and the motorcycle, driving straight into them and pinning both men between the Jeep and the iron tree bed on the sidewalk. The bike is crushed. Both attackers are trapped under the front of the car and the metal structure around the tree. Minutes later, phone footage shows one of the robbers stuck under the vehicle and the iron tree bed, screaming for help, while police and firefighters work to free them. It takes hours to remove them. They are injured and arrested, and the motorcycle is confirmed to be stolen with fake plates. At first, some people nearby rush in thinking it was just a traffic accident and try to help the men under the car. But the driver tells them that the two had just tried to rob her. When witnesses realize they were armed robbers, the crowd's reaction changes. People become outraged at the criminals, and the atmosphere around them turns hostile. News reports praised the driver's cold blood, but also emphasized one crucial detail. She was only able to do this because her car was armored. With a regular vehicle, accelerating into an armed robber like this would be almost suicidal. Most of the time, compliance and survival are the priority. Home security cameras in a small city in São Paulo state record a terrifying scene. A shirtless man with a knife attacks a house gate, screaming and trying to force his way inside. Inside are his young daughter, his ex-partner's sister, and her husband. His ex, who is pregnant, has already fled to her mother's house because of his threats. He repeatedly stabs at the gate, trying to reach the people holding it closed. At one moment, the knife comes dangerously close to his own child, who is helping to keep the door shut. Neighbors call the police. Officers arrive and try to talk him down, ordering him to drop the knife. Instead, he turns his fury toward them and advances, weapon in hand. With no other option, the officers fire. Even after being hit, he keeps coming, until more shots finally stop him. He dies at the scene. Behind this violent moment is a long history of abuse, restraining orders, and substance use that made him more and more aggressive. Domestic violence doesn't start with a knife at the gate. It usually starts with control, insults, threats, and often escalates over time. On a city sidewalk, two police officers appear to be detaining a man beside a patrol vehicle. The rear compartment is open, ready to place him inside. But there's an immediate problem. Even though he's being taken into custody, the suspect is not handcuffed. In the first moment of distraction, he tries to bolt. The officers grab him and a struggle begins. As they fight to control him, the suspect notices a second critical mistake. An officer's holster appears unsecured, and the handgun is accessible. In a split second, the suspect manages to pull the weapon. He fires once and misses. He fires again, this time striking one of the officers, who drops to the ground immediately. The suspect then wrestles with the second officer, keeps control of the gun, shoots him as well, and runs off. It's a devastating chain of small errors that turns a routine arrest into a deadly outcome in seconds. A normal-looking couple walks through the front door of a cell phone store. They appear calm, and the woman even greets the reception staff as if they're regular customers. For a moment, everything looks routine. Then the man places a phone down on the reception sofa and immediately pulls out a handgun, announcing the robbery. He moves toward the back of the store, taking control of the inner area. At the front, the woman stays near reception. In one quick motion, she opens her purse and pulls out a .38 caliber revolver, raising it toward an employee to prevent any reaction. What's unsettling is how controlled it looks at first. Even with a gun in her hand, the woman appears to speak calmly, as if she's trying to keep the employee quiet and compliant while the man handles the back of the store. But deeper inside, the situation escalates fast. According to the report, the male suspect becomes distracted for a brief moment, and that single moment creates an opening. A penal police officer who was working at the location reacts, and within seconds a gunfight breaks out inside the store. Shots ring out as the suspects scramble. During the exchange, the officer is struck, but he survives. The couple panics. Their plan collapses immediately, and they sprint toward the exit, fleeing the store in desperation. The wounded officer is rushed for medical care and later released. Investigators say the crime involved 4 people in total, 3 men and 1 woman. One suspect is arrested quickly in the initial response, and a firearm used in the crime is seized during that first arrest. Later, with anonymous tips and intelligence support, police locate and arrest a second suspect near his neighborhood. A few hours after that, another person involved is identified as a minor and taken to the police station. The woman seen holding the .38 revolver, however, escapes, and police continue searching for her. Authorities also report that motorcycles were used in the crime, and at least one of them is identified and taken in as part of the investigation. This footage shows how difficult it can be to recognize danger in time. Polite greetings, normal body language, and then, without warning, guns are drawn and lives are put at risk in seconds. Security camera footage shows the moments leading up to a violent armed robbery. The suspect is dressed like a delivery worker, wearing a courier-style shirt and carrying a delivery bag. He blends into the street and waits, scanning for high-value targets. Notice how he allows children to walk past him without reacting. His focus is not random confrontation. He's looking for valuables. He stops and positions himself near the sidewalk, already watching a potential victim approaching. A man in a yellow shirt walking behind the children. The suspect pretends to check something inside the delivery bag, as if he's confirming an order. But he's actually timing the approach. As the victim comes within reach, the suspect steps in aggressively, raises a handgun, and demands gold rings. The victim tries to explain that he doesn't have a ring, only a phone. The suspect takes the phone and leaves, moving away quickly before anyone can react. In another recording nearby, captured by a resident, the same suspect robs 2 friends. Again, his priority is gold rings. He keeps the gun close, repeatedly threatening to shoot to force compliance while the victims struggle to remove the rings quickly. Victims later describe the experience as suffocating. Frozen, unsure what to do, with a weapon inches from their face and constant threats. After these incidents, the suspect is identified in the area and police are called. Authorities report that, at the time of the arrest, officers seized 12 rings, a .32 caliber revolver, and a motorcycle believed to be stolen, with its identification markings altered. Investigators say he had been committing multiple spree robberies and was recognized by more than 10 victims. Police also point to a clear motive. In 2025, the price of gold rose sharply, making rings and jewelry even more attractive targets. After his arrest, the suspect is seen crying and claiming he regrets what he did, trying to play the victim. This case shows how criminals use disguises and everyday clothing to get close to victims, and how a routine moment on the street can turn into a life-threatening situation in seconds. A dashboard camera inside a rideshare vehicle captures a robbery from the driver's point of view. It's only the driver's second ride of the day. A young male passenger sits in the back seat, quiet and mostly silent, but the driver notices warning signs. The passenger isn't wearing a seatbelt, keeps shifting around, and seems unusually restless. Sensing something is off, the driver makes a quick decision. He leaves his phone camera recording on the dashboard mount. As they get close to the destination, the suspicion becomes reality. The passenger suddenly leans forward from the back seat and presses a knife against the driver's neck. In a firm voice, he orders him to keep going. Just drive. The driver stays calm and tries to talk, hoping to keep the situation from escalating. The passenger keeps the blade close and gives short commands, controlling every move. Moments later, the robber orders the driver to stop. The driver pulls over, clearly terrified, and tries to cooperate without making sudden movements. Then the demand changes. The suspect tells him to send a PIX transfer, an instant payment, right there. The driver pleads that he has no money, repeating that he just started working and has nothing in his account. He even tries to show proof, still speaking carefully because the knife never leaves striking distance.
Não tem nada, velho. Não tem nada. Eu te mostro aqui, amigão. Te mostro aqui, por Deus, te mostro agora. Aqui, ó. Aqui, ó. Comecei a trabalhar agora, parceiro.
E aquela mulher ia tirá-lo da presença de Deus.
Finalizar a corrida, ó. Você vê que eu comecei agora, maninho. Não tem nada, nada não.
The robber insists for several seconds, but then appears to give up on the money. Instead, he decides to take the car. He orders the driver out, keeping him under threat as the driver unbuckles his seatbelt, raises his hands, and steps out. The driver asks about his documents, but the robber refuses. He only wants the vehicle. The suspect slides into the driver's seat and drives away, leaving the victim stranded. As soon as he's free, the driver runs to a nearby bus stop, calls police, and reports the make of the car and the description of the suspect. According to police and the news report, an 18-year-old suspect is later detained. Officers recover the knife used in the robbery and other stolen items, and the property is returned to the driver. During questioning, the suspect claims the robbery was ordered. Police say he allegedly already had information about the specific driver and the vehicle's license plate, suggesting the victim may have been targeted, not chosen at random. In the end, the driver is physically alive, but shaken. He returns home relieved to see his family again, knowing that after a knife at his neck, simply surviving became the only victory that mattered. If you want more real crime caught on camera with clear step-by-step narration, subscribe to Crime Cams. Leave a like if this video was informative, and comment which moment shocked you the most. Your support helps us keep these cases documented and helps more people stay aware and stay safe.